Hallowfall. I love this zone, man.
Hallowfall is one of the new zones in the War Within expansion, with huge world-building implications that could potentially be a gateway to a new era of Warcraft. In this zone, we meet the Arathi, half-elf, half-humans of the Arathi Empire. But who are they and how did they get here? Okay, bear with me for a second as I break this down, since a lot of this information is told to us but never shown to us, or given really any—
Dude, I swear I heard something on my right ear, but I think it was in the video.
Sort of fleshed out context.
Okay.
But here's what you need to know. Okay, around 2,800 years ago, there was a conflict in the Eastern Kingdoms called the Troll Wars. In this battle, the Amani trolls rampaged across the northern reaches of the continent. They fought the High Elves and the first great human nation, the Empire of Arathor, led by the king of the Arathi tribe, Thoradin. These two forces teamed up, and the High Elves taught some humans how to wield arcane magic, and they just absolutely destroyed the Amani trolls and became best buds. After that, the humans spread out and became all the different human kingdoms that we know today. Okay, so that's all the old, already established lore.
Okay.
The new lore being introduced in the War Within is that after the Troll Wars, a group of High Elves and humans left to go establish a new empire on a new continent, which was located east from the Eastern Kingdoms.
But I don't think anything existed of the... So they're intentionally withholding, like, continents from us.
What is this new continent? We have no idea right now. There might be some hints to it in the Dragonflight expansion and a book.
The Eastern kingdoms. Yeah, the more Eastern
about a night elf pirate who says that they traveled across the storming sea to a new undiscovered land, and in the Old Man dungeon there's another book mentioning a continent called Avalorn, which may or may not be this new continent. There's another story in Dragonflight about a green dragon named Aranithria, who traveled across the storming sea and was never heard from again. The rest of the dragons assumed she died, but her presence can still be seen in the Emerald Dream, suggesting that she is just chilling out on some undiscovered side of Azeroth. Furthermore, there's evidence that Arathi dragons are a thing, which is mentioned in quest text. But okay, back to the Arathi. The humans and the High Elves established a new empire, crossbred, and are now half-elf, half-humans. But they don't call themselves half-elves. They simply just refer to their race as the Arathi. We also know the Arathi Empire worships something called the Sacred Flame. This is a powerful magic that is a combination of light, arcane, and some fire magic, and it's manifested through belief, just like the wielding of just traditional light. So to be clear, it isn't just pure holy magic, but the entire empire worships this sacred flame. Some fanatically so, in a manner that is very reminiscent to the Scarlet Crusade. You know, extreme zealots who have an unshakable faith, who hate outsiders and want to purge the unclean.
Doesn't seem like a bunch of great people, but I mean, you know, maybe not all of them are that bad.
The most important thing about the Arathi is that they're led by someone who we know as the Emperor. And while we know barely anything about the Emperor, we do know his name, as there's a giant book in the Hallowfall zone that can be translated, which tells us his name is Emperor Thoradin the Ninth, who may be a part of the lineage from the first leader of the Arathi.
Wait, what did that say? There's also been another emperors who aren't named Thoradin, so we don't know the exact lineage. Okay.
The Arathi. This emperor has a special connection to the sacred flame and interprets prolific visions from the light and commands his empire to put into motion these prophesized events. This is a common trope for the light. Grand visions of a destiny that a person must fulfill to benefit the cosmic force of light.
The light is your destiny.
Doesn't really seem like a good thing.
By the sacred flame, this is forbidden footage. Do not look at it. Around 15 years ago, it is said that the Emperor had a vision that there was going to be a great final battle against the light and void, called Renalash, in a far-off land.
I mean, the next expansion is going to be midnight, right? So it's going to be hella void stuff.
So an expedition was sent to capitalize on this prophesized event, led by Valisa Steelstrike, who was given the role of leading the expedition after she decimated an uprising within the Empire. They floated across the sea on their airships powered by the holy, sacred flame, expecting this expedition to only last a few years at most, clueless to their impending fate. During their travel, there's a giant storm, then a flash of light, and then...
Damn!
Through a moment of divine intervention, the expedition was transported deep below the earth in a gigantic cavern which would later be named Hallowfall.
So it's essentially like the Bermuda Triangle, right? Because like, how the heck did they get down here? I guess they just, I don't know, they got transported because it's like in the middle of the earth, Azeroth, right?
Where there is a giant sun-like crystal embedded in the top of the zone.
Magic,
As of making
I guess.
this video, its origins are currently unknown, but the light-worshipping Arathi instantly fell in love with it and named it Beledar, the Emperor's Vision. The great crystal that their glorious leader had prophesied them to find. What we do know about Beledar is that it's somehow connected to the world soul of Azeroth, and the radiant song that many characters heard that led us to this continent and kicked off this expansion were also heard by the Arathi.
And that's the thing that people heard when their planet is about to die, though, right? Because that's what we learned about the Ethereals, that their home, they started hearing the radiant song and then their home planet got destroyed.
So for the next 15 years, the Hallowfall expedition established a foothold in this blessed land, creating a civilization in what we can assume is very similar to their empire back home. And they have done some great and efficient construction work, building multiple outposts, watchtowers, towns, farms, and churches, all in the span of 15 years.
Damn!
But unfortunately, all the mages that accompanied the expedition to make portals to go back home died in the storm.
Oh, shit.
All except one, who doesn't even know how to cast portals. So the expedition is stranded here in Hallowfall. I mean, yes, they could leave the zone if they really wanted to, but these light worshippers are willing to fight and die in defending Beledar.
They want
but
that
this
shit.
faith in the sacred flame has been put to the test over the past
Such a
couple
cool
of years.
transition, though. Like, this is really cool. We're thinking of it 62 months, man.
The Arathi
Thank
call
you.
it the Day of Darkness. The day Sargeras stabbed his sword into Azeroth during the Legion expansion, which somehow led to Beledar twisting into this void state. Ever since, the crystal in Hallowfall has been shifting in and out of its corrupted state at seemingly random times that can last moments to entire days.
Actually, it's on a very specific time frame during the day. If you play the game, you would know this, Platinum WoW.
The Arathi call this Beledar's Shadow, and during this time, the enemies of the Arathi and their sacred flame emerge from the shadows to attack. Creatures like the deep-sea raiders called the Kobus.
These are fucking sick, by the way. These Kobus things.
Creatures like the deep-sea...
Man, they're like, what are those called? The deep-sea fish, the anglerfish? They use, like, humans and, like, images of, like, Hallowfall people, like, suffering as, like, a little lure for people to come in and then they, like, stab you. They're actually kind of sick. It's, like, a cool, like, horror element, I think, of it. They have working skeletons, murlocs with hair, but they're like way more like dank than warlocks.
The raiders called the Kobus, chaotic void elementals, and the Nerubians from Aj Kahet.
The Arathi will be but the first to fall. You are nothing against Aj Kahet.
When Beledar shifts, the Arathi must stop everything they're doing and act in accordance.
From Witcher?
The heroes of the expedition in
those
this
are the same,
time of chaos are the Lamplighters. Arathi soldiers whose mission is to light the Dawn Towers to ward off enemies with the sacred flame and keep the citizens safe.
Those who oppose the Emperor will fall at our feet. Glory guides my hammer!
Shit.
During the main storyline of the Hallowfall Zone, we meet the Great Chiron, the leader of the Lamplighters, and Faerun Lothar, who is a Lamplighter who serves as our guide and is a part of the royal Lothar family. Arathi believe that it is through their faith in the flame alone that Beledar has not shifted to permanent shadow, but they're currently fighting a losing war. That is one of the reasons why when we arrive to Hallowfall, the Arathi don't just attack us on sight, because they're desperate for aid. But not everyone in the Hallowfall expedition is accepting outside aid. In the Priory of the Sacred Flame Dungeon...
Yeah, that's like the crusade people, I guess, of the Hallowfall, as he said.
There are members of the expedition who are more fanatical in their beliefs, and think their faith in the sacred flame alone is enough to overpower their enemies, which includes us.
The sacred flame will cleanse your transgressions!
Hey, what the fuck did I do?
Yep.
They want to conquer all of Khazulgar and the rest of Azeroth, and one of their methods in doing so is using Beledar's light for necromancy, and are raising slain soldiers in light-infused undeath.
That doesn't seem very, like, light. That seems more like, you know, but shit, I mean, at service of the light, I guess.
No Arathi leaves the Emperor's service, even in death.
Okay.
Which, I know, sounds like an oxymoron, but raising someone in undeath with light is different from resurrection, as we've seen before with the character Kalia Menethil. The members of the Priory raising undead in a desperate attempt to fight back against their enemies is like super heretical. So we work with the friendly Arathi to kill them all. Just kill them, kill them!
The Empire will see you burn.
On the other hand, members of the Hallowfall expedition have fallen to darkness and accepted Beledar's transformation to shadow and have formed the Order of Night. And since this is the War Within, of course Xal'atath has influenced the cult's formation and corruption.
Yeah.
The Harbinger shall claim Hallowfall. Let
Warhammer
night
again.
be unending.
Are they just stealing all the lore from Warhammer? I guess that's the classic one to do.
And that's pretty much all the super important lore that
the
we
editing is great.
currently know about the Arathi. Once again, Blizzard has done some great world building and a cool zone to match. You'd be amazed at all of the small little details used to flesh out the zone and the Arathi's culture. There's this book called the Big Book of Arathi Idioms, and this gives you context to a bunch of different phrases they use, and... I went to town and I was blessed with Dunnell's kindness of fresh meat and cheese for me to enjoy after I achieved Tanir's Ascent, where we performed an Aegis Wall with my boys. Me joining the Lamplighters really was the light spark that gave my life meaning.
Little wordplay, eh?
And, yeah, that's it.
Oh. Alright.
Thank you.
Let's talk about empires and burning cleansing sounds like Warhammer. It does, yeah. I don't know my Warhammer lore fully. I know that Platinum also has like a channel for Warhammer and stuff, but I used to paint Warhammer when I was a kid. That's all. You know, I used to collect the little Warhammer toys, and I would paint them. I would specifically be really into painting the orcs, like those guys. I spent a lot of time painting Warhammer as a kid. Toys? Sorry, I mean, I was a kid, so like, figurines, guys, figurines, I had a lot of those. And then I recently spoke to my brother, I'm like, damn, like, because I remember I had a dragon. I had an orc dragon that I was like so proud of. And I'm like, man, dude, do you know where we left that, man? And he's like, yeah, I sold it. Bro! You fucking sold it? Like, what the hell, man? I was so proud of it, and I painted it. I spent so long painting that figurine, and he just sold it. Man, I would sit in I would sit in the kitchen, and I would just sit and paint them all day. Oh my god. Whatever.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Also, the Arathi tame and ride lynxes, which is cool. This is entirely a headcanon thing, but I like to think that the taming and riding of felines is a residual part of elven culture that carried on into the Arathi, since the High Elves were once the Kaldorei, who, you know, rode lightsabers and stuff. Also, a very groundbreaking and entire franchise-defining bit of lore that came from the Arathi is that there's this book that explains their viewpoint on the cosmic forces. So before this, we've had two views of the cosmic forces of the Warcraft universe. One is in the Chronicle book, and one is from the Brokers in Shadowlands. But now we have a third cosmic theory of the universe, which is a combination of these two previous charts in something called a hexateron, also known as a 5-simplex, which is a 5-dimensional geometry, regular 5 polytope, and
Bro, I'm lost. I don't even know. Okay.
Basically, the cosmic forces in the universe can be mathed out into a 3D space that's like a D20, and there are planes that are a combination of forces in the universe, like a light and fire plane, or a life and void plane, which gives us an explanation for the Arathi harnessing the sacred flame, which is a combination of light and arcane. Okay, and that's a thing, I guess.
I don't even know what he's talking about anymore, man. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm just thinking about Warhammer.
Okay, what are some things I don't like about the Arathi, and things that fill me with trepidation about the storytelling behind them? It's stated that the Hallowfall expedition's kindness to us is out of desperation, and if we were to ever visit their empire, they'd most likely attack us on sight.
Maybe.
This makes me wish our relationship with the expedition was more complex and strained. Kind of like our relationship with the Mantid. They're simply the enemy of our enemy, and that's why they work with us. They're not necessarily nice.
Yeah.
And I just have this burning desire to work with a faction that isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and we are not best friends. Like, look, man, if we're gonna be inspired by Warhammer, let's just take it all the way and make them intolerant and backwards radicals.
There it was.
All of them. I mean,
You were right, dude. You were right.
Lore of the first emperor of the Arathi is literally just the lore of Sigmar ripped straight out of Warhammer Fantasy.
Wait, he's called Sigmar. They pretty much even look alike, man. What is this? They just yoinked it.
Just a 100% carbon copy, pretty much. Let's just commit to the bit and copy all of the badass stuff from the universe.
Okay.
Another thing that I worry about with the Arathi is that, while I'm a big fan of their lore and the War Within so far, this has got to be the expansion with the most unanswered questions going into it.
Oh my god. Surely we'll learn all of this, guys. We'll figure all of that out, right?
Especially when it comes to the Arathi. And I hope a lot of these questions get answered by the end of the expansion, especially Beledar. And while having mysteries to speculate on can be fun, this method of storytelling can bite Blizzard in the ass if it takes too long for the big reveals to actually happen. And I think
it's good having mystery though in a game or like in a story, but it also needs to make sense, I guess, right?
This is one of the
Some things are better left a mystery, like Shadowlands. Or just like forget about it completely, you mean, or? I mean, I don't know. I think it's good having a sense of mystery within a world too. Like, not everything has to be explained, but some things should make sense, right? Remember the Legion Il'gynoth riddle? I don't think I know that because I didn't play too much Legion. That cleans this for Sigmar. I think we know what the Earthen didn't turn into flesh, but I don't remember. Yeah, there was a video explaining that. Yeah.
Problems they struggled with in terms of storytelling for the Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, and with the Arathi, by the light of the flame, I wish I could just shake one of them and ask, what is your continent called? Where is it located? Does the architecture all look like this? When did you start getting fanatical with the sacred flame? Why? Tell me more about your emperor. What does he look like? How many souls are sacrificed to him every day? Huh? Here's some crayons and a piece of paper. Just draw them for me, please! Because, like, I'm kind of just assuming the emperor is some Arathi dude sitting on a throne. But he could look like this, or this, or this, or this, or this.
Oh my god,
or
that
this,
fucking show.
Or even this. And I hope that's answered at some point during the World Soul Saga. Or at least we get...
That's the freaking, the first Ultramarine with Chris Metzen on it, right? Like, not the first one, but like the big Giga guy sitting on the throne.
Some sort of visual information. But for now, I'm just gonna stay here in Hallowfall and interrogate more lore out of these Arathi.
Hey, you!
It was Emperor? Yeah, that's what I meant.
Tax structure like, huh? Hey, where do you think you're going? What is your emperor's favorite flavor of ice cream? Tell me now!
Dude, he's really getting into the lore, isn't he? Oh my god! I like Platinum Mouse videos, man. They're really good. They're like a nice way of kind of like going through the lore. Actually, I really dig it. Honestly, also, guys, there we go. I saw a lot of you guys complain about it. Okay, I'll turn it to dark mode. Here it is, guys. I'll link the video. Check out Platinum WoW.